I'm standing outside a standard piggery in Victoria, Australia. This one is owned by one of the largest pig farming companies in the country. It's about 1 in the morning and we're going to go inside and I'll show you around. This is the breeding shed. This whole giant shed is full of what are called farrowing crates. These are basically small pens with a cage in the middle for the mother pig, the sow. She's confined in here for about a week before she's due to give birth. And then she's in here with her piglets, nursing them for up to 6 weeks. So she's in this tiny cage in which she can barely move, she can't turn around, for 6 or more weeks at a time on hard concrete or metal floors usually. This sow hasn't given birth yet. She's probably due within the next few days. This is a good example of just how little room they have. When she's lying down, her back is right up against these bars and her head is pretty much under the feeder. So this one's had piglets. They're probably a week or 2 old at this point, I'd say. And you can see they're all nursing from their mother. She is covered in flies, as are most or all of them in here. Look at how filthy this floor is, completely covered in maggots. This one is what's called a runt. You can see that they're a lot smaller than their brothers and sisters. Most likely in the morning, a worker's going to grab that piglet and they're going to thump them against the concrete to kill them because they're not worth the trouble of raising. This is another example of just how large they are and how tiny their cages are in comparison. You can see her leg over the side bar of her cage. That is not a comfortable way to sleep, but that's the only option she has. A lot of the time they get pressure sores from lying on the hard concrete or metal floors for so long. This sow's got a pretty nasty looking pressure wound on her face. So just here on the outside of one of the farrowing crates, there's a couple of dead piglets, very young. One of them's been eaten quite badly. Could be by cats, could be rats, could be other pigs, who knows. So they would have been just tossed there by workers when they found them dead in the crates. They'd be less than a week old when they died. There's several routine operations that pig farms do on piglets without any kind of anaesthetic. The most common that they do is they cut the tail off to a little stump. You can see this one's been done pretty recently. It's mostly healed over now, but they literally just cut the tail off with scissors without any kind of pain relief. That's in probably their first day or 2 of life. And the idea with that is when they get a bit older, and they're all crowded into pens together, very bored with no kind of stimulation, they start to bite at each other's tails. This is another good example of a sow with a pressure sore on her side because she's been lying on her side on the metal floor. This is another dead piglet, very young. He's just been tossed outside of their crate. by the workers here. Some piggeries will go around with a bucket, collect all the dead piglets into a bucket. I don't know why they've just left this one here in the aisle, but sometimes they do that. This is group housing for sows. This is what the industry has moved to replace sow stalls. So instead of being in individual small cages, they're packed together in small pens, concrete pens. There's a lot of fighting that happens in this style of housing, which is pretty understandable, being in close quarters for weeks at a time. After their piglets have been weaned from them in the farrowing shed, they'll be moved back into these group pens. Then they'll be impregnated. Their pregnancy is 4 months long, and once they're about to give birth, they'll move them back into the farrowing crate. So it's this constant cycle of being in the farrowing crate cages to being in these small pens with other sows. This is their life for months at a time, just being in this small pen with no enrichment, no stimulation, just cramped close quarters with other sows, very little room to move. They have to basically defecate where they eat and sleep. Some of these are pretty small. They'd be what are called gilts, so they haven't actually given birth yet. They'd be probably less than a year old at this point. And then you get your larger sows who have probably done this cycle a few times now. You can see from how dirty they are, they're just living in their own filth. It's a common misconception that pigs like filth. They like to be clean, and they just don't have the opportunity to do that in a place like this. So this is what's called a pork stalk. It's a long catheter. Workers will put this into the sow's vagina as a way to insert semen from a boar. This is how they impregnate them. This is what's called artificial insemination. They'll insert this end into the sow's vagina and they'll attach a tube of semen that's often been shipped in from another piggery, and they'll hold it up like that, and that's how they impregnate them. See how aggressive they get in these tiny close quarters for so long. This is the Weaner shed where the piglets are moved to after they're weaned from their mothers in the farrowing crates. So there's a series of rooms connected by this corridor. This is a little sick bay here in the corner. These ones aren't looking too good. They're really curious and inquisitive. And pretty jumpy. This is another farrowing room. There's only a few here compared to that much bigger shed we were just in. But at the moment all the sows in here, the piglets have just been born, so they're pretty small. So just in this first crate I can see there's a very small dead piglet in the back corner. They're a fair bit smaller than the other piglets, so they probably would have been a runt. Their tails are very recently been cut, but they're still pretty wet. In the back corner there you can see a piglet who's very newly born and this one is trapped underneath her mum. We'll see if we can get the mum to stand up, otherwise this one's not going to live very long. Come on. They've been completely crushed, the back half of them. They're probably not going to live for much longer. So they were trapped under the sow, under their mum. She probably didn't even realise. She's got nowhere else to go. She can't move around to get away from them. So if they happen to be underneath her when she wants to lie down, they're going to get crushed. Water is just flooded here. This is group sow housing. They're all just packed together. There's no room for them to move, they're just completely on top of each other. This is the great alternative that the industry has come up with for sow stalls, just packing them all into concrete pens together so they can't move. It's just one big cage.